All right, cool. So then you can reference back to it if you need anything. All right. Now, just to start us off, I'm going to do a quick poll. This is just for fun. It's not for data collection or anything weird like that. It's just to have an idea of who all of you are, what sort of things you like, and I don't know, common interests you might have. The questions are very easy. How big's your hometown? What do you like to do for fun? What kind of natural environment or nature do you like the most? And then how is the weather in your hometown right now? And I guess in theory it could be raining and hot or cold and snowy. I didn't think that through, but it's fine. All right, I'll give it 10 more seconds. Everyone's pretty much done. Awesome. Here we go. So I'm going to share results. So it looks like most of you are coming from a medium-sized town or city, between 100,000 and 1 million people. Someone's coming from a larger place. The city of Cincinnati is actually somewhere in between. Cincinnati itself, the incorporated part of the city is something like 300 to 400,000 people. So it is medium-sized, but the greater Cincinnati area, which is all the part around it, is a lot bigger. It's about 2 million people, 2.5 million people, something like that. So you could say it's both medium and large. So it's pretty similar to what you guys have experienced. What do you like to do most for fun? All music and movies. All you guys should talk to each other since you all have the same interests. I will share that we just here in Clifton, which is the neighborhood of the University of Cincinnati, we just premiered the movie The Private Eye. It was the world premiere, so they had some like limousines and a bunch of people in tuxedos and dresses and stuff, and that was just, I don't know, like 5 minutes away from here. It was over the weekend. So lots of movie activities to do here. What do you like most? Forests and beaches. We do have the city of Cincinnati, of course, is a city, and then it has rolling hills going into mountains, Appalachian Mountains, which are a little bit further away, but it's mostly forests and then hills or mountains. We are a little bit far away from a beach, but it is possible to rent a car and then drive to either beaches on the East Coast or in any of the Great Lake regions. And how's the weather right now? A little bit of everything. Hot, nice, and cold. Here, I would say it's a little bit cold. It's like maybe 2 degrees Celsius. So yeah, I have to wear a coat, but it's not like I'm freezing or anything. But it's getting warmer. It was a lot colder like a week or two ago, and now the weather is getting a lot better. All right, so that's enough of that. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started. If you have any questions as you go as I present, feel free to write them in the chat. I'll get to them in the end. And if not, I mean, we're only 4 people, so feel free to unmute and then ask them as well. I will get started. So as I said before, welcome to the Undergraduate International Student Next Steps webinar. And first and foremost, congratulations to all of you for being admitted to the University of Cincinnati. Congratulations. Not all students are admitted, not all international students are admitted. Some programs are quite competitive, so congratulations to all of you. You've made the cut, you've been admitted. We're very excited to welcome you into the Bearcat family and can't wait for you to come. A little bit about myself. My name is Seth Higginbotham. I work in international admissions. I am an alumni of the University of Cincinnati. I studied aerospace engineering here, and I'm currently doing my master's degree here in political science. So I know quite a bit about the university. I know a lot of international students have been through here. I can answer probably all of your questions, if not most of them. But if I cannot, or if you're looking for a different perspective, we do have international student ambassadors. These are international students who whose job it is essentially to help you with any questions that you might have. We have the lovely Lily, the humble Hanisha, and the terrific Tamerbeck, all at our disposal. So if you're interested in meeting with any of them, you can go ahead and schedule a virtual call. I'll go ahead and put this link in the chat. You can also just look online, like University Cincinnati International Student Ambassador, one-on-one talk, and you'll be able to find them. And then they'll be able to help you with any questions you might have or give you more information. So in this webinar, this is what we're going to go through. I'm going to do a brief overview of co-op. You've probably heard a lot about it if you've been looking at UC, if you applied here, but we have found that students still might have a lot of questions or doubts, so I'm just going to cover a little bit of that. The main focus of this presentation are these two portals, Bearcat Portal first, and second, iBearcat's global portal. So these two things make up the meat of this presentation. After that, we'll talk about costs, finance, and scholarships, and then we'll have time for questions at the end. All right, let's get started. So coming to the University of Cincinnati, what we guarantee you will walk away from here from is these three things: a degree, a resume, and a plan for your future. And that is the Bearcat promise. We promise you will graduate with a degree, you will have a resume that has excellent experiences, a variety of experiences, things that will make you a competitive candidate for getting a job, and then a plan for your future. So you will leave in 4 or 5 years' time with an idea, these are my next steps, this is how I'm going to do it. And one of the main ways that we accomplish that is through our experience-based learning. We do have 100% student participation in these different programs, the main focus of which that most students do is co-op. And co-op, to clarify, is working as an international student while you're in the United States. So it is similar to an internship, except it is fully paid and it is part of your curriculum. So for all of the engineering students, all the design students, architecture students, business students, co-ops are required, they're mandatory, you must do them. And it looks something like this, where you alternate studying for 1 semester, working for another semester, studying, working, studying, working. And each time that you're working at a company. It could be a very, very large, important company. It could be a startup. It could be something local. It could be in Tokyo or Paris or something like that. And that company will be paying you money, and your co-op experience itself will be related to what you're studying. So again, that's really our main draw, is our co-op program. We do have the #1 co-op program in the country for public universities. And I mean, I covered most of this already. If you do have questions specific to co-op, please put them in the chat. I'm happy to answer more. Other experiences that we have are shown here below, things like research, study abroad, capstone, student teaching, artistic performances. If you have a different focus or you're interested in startup companies, being an entrepreneur, being a performer, an actor, et cetera, you'll be able to find something that helps you to get where you want to go in your career that is an experience that's meaningful to you. All right. One last note on co-ops before I move on. You are getting paid, as I said before. This number, I think, might be a little bit out of date at this point, this $10,000 average student earnings per co-op, because we've had the same slide for a couple of years now, so it's probably a little bit higher than that. But as you can see, we do have students co-op with some of the most prestigious names in industry. In the city of Cincinnati itself, there are more than 400 Fortune 500 companies. So we do have relationships, partnerships with all of these companies. In fact, this past week, we had a career fair and many representatives from these companies came to our campus to recruit students for co-op. So that's all I'll say about that. If you do have more questions, please feel free to write them. I'll get to them at the end, and we can discuss it in a little bit more detail. All right, now on to the most important part of this presentation. You're an admitted student. What does that mean? What are your next steps? All right, so we have a lot of portals at the University of Cincinnati. Portal just means a website that you go to and you log into it. You have your username, you have your password, you go into it, and then there are things for you to do and things for you to look at. You will see a lot of portals being a UC Bearcat. So for example, there's a portal called Canvas, which is where you'll go to see your professors and look at your classes and your grades, et cetera, et cetera. So there's quite a few. There's another one for student organizations, whatever. Right now, we're focusing on these two. And right now, very specifically, Bearcat Portal. So Bearcat Portal, this is what you need to do before you come to the university. To get into the portal, you will need a username, which is called a 6+2, and a password. The username is very likely related to your name itself. So my name's Seth Higginbotham. My username is HIGGINSO. So it's like my last name, then my first name. You should receive an email to the email that you applied to the university from that has this information, your username and your password. When you log in for the first time, your password is going to be UC exclamation point, and then your birthday, month, day, year. And then you must change your password. If you have issues, if you have issues logging into that portal, please contact IT. Will get locked out eventually if you are not able to log into that portal in time. All of this information is in the email that you get about how to access your portal. All right, so you put in the login information. What happens next? It asks you to do a two-factor authentication. Security is a risk in the United States and at the University of Cincinnati, in the world in general. So we do have this app that we use called Duo Mobile, and you'll use it a million times as a UC student. What it is it basically says, is this you who's trying to log into the website? And it sends you a push to your phone, and you just go to your phone and you say, yes, it is me. And that is it. It is very simple, very easy, but you can't log in without it. So just download the app, get used to it. There are instructions in the email as well. I'm just sharing this with you again. So you log in, you're in the Bearcat portal. What does it look like? What does it have? All right, so it contains some information and then some tasks. The information is just general information that you already sent us. You can see it all here. You can see this was my major. This is the program I applied for, what I was accepted to. Great, awesome. And then there are the tasks. So in the tasks, you can see some important dates on the right, but then the tasks, looks like I got ahead of myself a little bit. Apologies. On this slide, I'm going to highlight there are finances in the top right corner of the screen. So there should be a call out saying how much you're estimated to owe. And then this is typically accurate for the upcoming semester. Just for August, like when you arrive in August, by your first day of classes, you should pay this amount of money. It might not be perfectly accurate on the Bearcat portal because it might not have information about your scholarships. That takes a little bit of time to be applied to it. So if you think, oh, I got a scholarship and I'm not seeing it here, that's totally fine. We know what scholarships you got. This is just an estimation, a guesstimate of what your tuition and fees will be. All right, so there's that. Now, you will also receive an email asking you to set up your UC email address. This is very important, very critical, because basically once you get into this portal and once you start interacting with it, everything will go to your University of Cincinnati email address. So that's things related to housing, things related to immigration, your visa, your I-20, orientation. In the future, when you're communicating with professors, you'll talk to them via your university email account. So just be aware, this is the most important way to talk to anyone about anything. And this is how people will try to talk to you as well. If we need to talk to you, this is how we will do it. So go ahead and set up your email address. And then once that's verified, check it every single day, I would say, just in case something comes into it. All right, so you're in the portal, past all that. And you see the finances in the right, you've got some information about your stuff on the left, whatever. these are the tasks that you need to complete before you come to the university. And I'm going to go through them one by one, at least the most important ones. So at the top of the list, there's the virtual advising prep session. You will need to schedule classes, and you might not necessarily know how to do that without help. It is a little bit complicated. It's possible to do it on your own, but highly, highly recommended that you meet with an academic advisor so they can tell you these are the classes you need to take in order to advance towards your degree and complete your major. And they will show you this is how you actually schedule for those classes. If you have questions or if you think that, oh, I don't really like this, it's also a chance to meet with them and talk to them and say, hey, I'm looking to do something more related to computer science. Can I take a class, one class related to that? Or I want to learn Spanish. Can I take a class related to that? And it's the opportunity to meet your academic advisor, say hello, and then register for classes for the fall. So very important. I highly recommend registering for that, signing up for it, and doing it. Next item, pre-enrollment questionnaire. This just asks a few questions about things like, let's see, when is your flight arriving? Do you need accommodation on your first day? Do you need transportation? What's more information about your background, things like that. It's also important. I don't remember exactly what some of the questions are. It's changed recently, but it's just a questionnaire. So fill out a few questions and that's it. Next one, Bearcat's bound orientation. On the screen right here, it calls it out as in person. If you happen to be in Cincinnati for a period of time, you can sign up to come to the University of Cincinnati and do the Bearcats Bound orientation in person. And what that is just like learning where everything is and what all resources are available. So for example, this is where the gymnasium is. This is where the cafeteria is. This is where mental health services is located. This is where the nurse and medical facilities are located. This is where your different classes are. These are the buildings, and kind of having a tour and understanding where to go to find things at the university. Now, if you're not in person, which is 99% of you, it will be virtual, and you'll have the option to do a virtual Bearcats Bound orientation. And then additionally, when you arrive on campus, usually international services will do some sort of event for students to help get them acclimated to the university to learn where different things are. So that's what that orientation is. Again, highly, highly recommend it because there's no reason not to do it. It helps you learn where everything is so that you know what you're doing when you get here. Next step, apply for housing. Of all of these on the screen, this is number one most important. Housing, housing, housing. And the reason why is because it is very competitive. There are a lot of dorms, that's true. We're also a growing university, so there's a lot of students. There are a variety of options available for you. You can choose to live in apartments by yourself or in Jack and Jill, which is like sharing a room with someone else and then having a private bathroom, or living on a floor with 10 different people and sharing one bathroom between you all, or in a room with 4 people, like a suite with a little kitchenette. There's a lot of options. There's maybe 20 different options. They cost different amounts of money. So you should try and figure out what makes sense for you financially, and then what you actually want to live, what experience you want to have, and then apply for it as soon as possible. The earlier you complete your application, the more likely, the better chance probability you have to get what you actually want higher on the list. So you do have to submit like first choice, second choice, third choice, that sort of thing. The sooner you apply, the higher your spot in the line is. So I would say do that immediately. It is mandatory for first-year students to live on campus. There is a waiver, but that's more for if you have family or friends that you'll be living with in the Cincinnati area or something like that. I'm not going to go into that in too much more detail. There are additional trainings related to just housing, but if you have questions, feel free to ask. Something else that I just want to mention that exists through this portal, We have something called living and learning communities, or LLCs, and those are where people that have similar interests can apply to live together. So for example, if you want to live with all international students, you can apply for the Global Community LLC, or if you want to live with all engineers, you can apply for the Engineering LLC or the Music LLC, or I don't know. There are different communities of people that you can choose to live with people with similar interests. Finally, the math placement test. I know for a lot of you, you already took an SAT or ACT or some sort of math test like that, and we have all of your high school grades anyways, but you will need to take a math placement test. It's called the ALEX test, and that allows you to be placed into the correct level of math in case you've learned even more since we last got your high school grades. So that could place you into like calculus or whatever appropriate level of calculus. And of course, that's important for students who are taking math classes like engineers and designers and scientists and those sorts of things. For someone who's in, I don't know, fine arts, not really that important because you'll probably never take a math class. So that's that. It's pretty fast. It's like, if I remember correctly, it's like 30 minutes. So it's not much to worry about. But those are the tasks that you will have to complete before you show up. And that is the Bearcat Portal. We're circling some. All right. So if you have questions about that Bearcat Portal, drop them in the chat. I'll check them at the end. We are going to move on to portal number 2, iBearcat's Global Services Portal. Now, up until now, and up until the time you're a student, you are working with us in the International Admissions Office. We admit you, and we take you all the way to the point where you become a student at the University of Cincinnati. Once you are a student at UC, taking classes, going to the gym, eating food, whatever, we no longer work with you. We hand you off to a different office, a different department, which is right here. It's called International Services. International Services' main job is to make sure that you are in the country legally. So they make sure that your visa is correct, your I-20 is correct. They help to make sure that you work on co-ops or other jobs legally, and that you don't have any problems while you're here in the United States. Besides that, they also do things like programming events. So they'll host like a Diwali and Lunar New Year and all sorts of events throughout the year. So they're pretty cool. But I'm going to talk a little bit about one of their portals now. So this iBearcat's Global Services Portal, you'll get an email for how to log in to this as well. You'll need to go to this new student login, and you go there, log in. They ask you to give an identification number, a date of birth, and a PIN. This should all be in your email. So you go there and you log into this website. And let me clarify again, the entire purpose of this portal is immigration. It is migration. It is your visa, your passport, come to the United States legally and correctly. Extremely important. So let's go through what the portal actually looks like. First, you'll be asked to to submit some documents and answer a few questions. So they also want to know different questions. These are things like your financial records. So they want to make sure that you'll be able to afford the university and then be able to have a successful interview with the United States Embassy based on your finances. They want to make sure that you have health insurance, things like that. So you'll go in and you'll look at these different options and you'll just go one by one, duck, 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 read them all, make sure the documents are correct. Once you upload the documents that we need, so things like scholarship letters, your finances, your admission letter, I don't know, maybe health insurance, things like that. Then International Services will take all the information and in about 1 week, maybe 2 weeks, they will send you back a document called an I-20. They give you this I-20 and you take the I-20 to the United States Embassy or consulate. Once you get it, you need to schedule an interview with the embassy or consulate to get your F1 student visa. So you schedule that visa and you wait maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months. It does take a lot of time, which means do this as soon as possible again. And you go off to the embassy or consulate. You meet with the officer there. You give them your I-20. You say, the University of Cincinnati gave me this I-20. Here are my finances. They look at it and they say, excellent. Here is your visa, so you can travel to the United States. Or they say, I'm so sorry, we can't give you a visa. Unfortunately, we don't really have a lot of control over that. Sometimes they'll deny students based on a variety of reasons, but it's not really related to you or us. It's more United States, whatever. But that's the process. That's how it works. You give us your documents, we give you the I-20, you go to the embassy, you get your visa, and then you come to the United States and you go through migrations with the visa, you come to the university. We do have a shuttle that takes you from the airport to the university. And then once you arrive here, you'll be able to get into your housing. All right, so that is this portal. International Services does also ask that once you get to the United States, you check in and you just tell them like you made it here and you're alive and nothing bad happened on the way and you have all your luggage and that sort of thing. Because if you have any problems, they are the ones who are there to help you. So if you have issues, let them know and they will help you with that. There is a training that's a little bit more in-depth where they themselves, the people at International Services, talk about all of this. They talk about different visa types, the costs of it, different programs, et cetera, et cetera. I recommend going to that if you want more information. If you're a transfer student, so say you've already studied in the United States or you've taken intensive English training or something in the United States, you need to let them know that as well so that they can get that official record. It's called a CVIS record. More questions, blah, blah, blah. Tell them like, oh, I got my visa. This is the date I got it. This is how long it lasts. They need to know that so that you can be in the United States legally. All right. Funding, more questions. All right. So that's the end of that portal. So we went through the Bearcat portal, we went through the iBearcat Global Services portal. Next, we'll talk about finances and then questions. So finances. Shown on the screen here are the cost by campus in US dollars for the 2022-23 academic year. We have not released the costs yet for 24-25. However, this previous year, 23-24, it was about the same. It was maybe like $200, $300 more. So it's very similar. We expect it to be very similar for next year as well. I'm just sharing as disclaimers, was 2 years old, they'll probably be very similar. So I'm going to go through the costs by column vertically and then horizontally. So vertically, we have 3 different campuses, the Uptown campus, Blue Ash, and then Claremont. Uptown campus is our main campus. It's where 90% of the students are. It's probably where all of you are admitted. There might be a student at a Blue Ash campus, but it's not very common. The Uptown campus, or main campus, is for 4-year programs or 5-year programs, those who are going for undergraduate degrees. The regional campus is just for 2 years, and then they have the option to come to the main campus for the last 2 years. However, the scholarships are different. So I know the tuition looks like a big difference, but the scholarships are also different between the 2 campuses. I'm going to skip Claremont. I don't think anyone's at Claremont. All right, so let's talk about the actual cost and the numbers, and then we'll talk about scholarships. Tuition, $30,000 per year at the main campus. This is the amount of money that you must pay to the University of Cincinnati in order to attend and take classes. So you sign up for classes, you have to pay $15,000 for each semester, for fall semester and for spring semester, which is $30,000 for the year. If you're in a year where you have multiple co-ops, let's say you have 2 co-ops and only 1 semester of classes, then your tuition will only be $15,000 for that 1 semester. This is better looked at as $15,000 per semester. Living expenses. Living expenses are how much it costs to live in the city of Cincinnati or in general in this area. We give this number as an estimate for what it costs to live on our campus in student housing. So in your first year, this is a very realistic estimate, what it costs for your meal plan, to live on campus in student housing, entertainment, things like that, haircuts, I don't know, things, I need a haircut, things like that. That's why it was on my mind. So that is what it would probably be during your first year. If you do live, if you choose to stay here during the summer, it's possible to get your housing for free if you participate in some programs like summer orientation leaders, where you help new students to get acclimated to the university, or I don't know, there are different programs that exist that can help you to live on campus or for free during the summer if you're interested in that. In your other years, when you're not a first year student, you can live off campus, of course, and then the living expense can be whatever you want it to be. If you want to make it much lower, much higher, everything is within the realm of possibilities. Health insurance is mandatory for the University of Cincinnati. If you have an international health insurance, then we do accept that. If you have an international health insurance recognized in the United States, we accept that. If not, we do offer the University of Cincinnati health insurance, which costs that $2,400 per year. So in total, this is what we estimate it costs to be a student at the University of Cincinnati, living on campus, eating the meal plan here for 1 year. And this is the amount of money that you would need to show to the United States Embassy or consulate in order to get your visa. Scholarships are not included in this. So let's say you receive a scholarship of, I don't know, $10,000 per year. Instead of needing to show 50,000, you would only need to show 40,000. So it's your money plus the scholarships. If you receive multiple scholarships, all of those get taken out as well. All right. Now, about those scholarships. Right now, we have released information for outreach scholarships for everyone who's been admitted and received their decision on our early decision release day, January 22nd. So all of you, if you earned a scholarship, should have received information about that outreach scholarship. It is possible to increase the amount of scholarship, but that is, it's based on mostly your test of English score and then your grades. If you send us those things, we will consider them. If there are other things that you want to send us, we can also consider them for a holistic review to increase your scholarship, but it's probably not as likely. Beyond that, students may receive emails. You all might receive emails about additional scholarships that you've been selected for. We are still both in both our like centralized admissions and each of the different colleges are still looking at the students that they think are going to be most successful at the university and that they really want to have. And so those students will receive a scholarship via email as well. So that's something that probably won't happen for another couple of weeks, but be sure to check your email. It will probably go to your University of Cincinnati email. And that will just be an additional offer of scholarship money. I'm not sure exactly how much it is, but I know that's something that we're still looking at both ourselves and then also like the College of Business, the College of Engineering, the College of Arts and Sciences. They will probably pick out some students as well to give higher scholarship amounts to. What all that means to say is that right now there is nothing that you can do with the University of Cincinnati to get more scholarship dollars from us directly. Like there's no additional application you can complete. If you want to send us a test of a perfect SAT score, that will probably wow us, and that could lead to receiving more scholarship dollars. But besides that, like there isn't a whole lot more that you can do. However, there are external scholarships that you can try to earn on our website. If you type in like University Cincinnati external scholarship, you'll see a list of, I don't know how many, maybe 100 different scholarships that we recognize that international students can apply for. There are also lots of them that are outside of us that we don't even know about. Take time trying to find them, applying for them, and then do your best to earn those. All right. So that's finances. I'm going to go through 1 or 2 more slides and then get to your questions. So here is some contact information just for important people. I would just take a screenshot or a photo of this, or even just try and remember it in general. These things exist. So I'm in international admissions. we are the people you've been working with 95% of the time. However, you're going to start working with these other offices more: international services, orientation, housing, etc. So each of these obviously do different things, and they're very important for international students. Whew. And we have social media. Come follow us on social media and see some of our Halloween pictures. I like that picture. All right. One thing that I did forget to mention right before I get to next steps is at the very beginning here, in order to get access to these portals, you do need to confirm your admission. So confirming your admission is just, you can either do it through the application page or through the Bearcat portal. It is saying, yes, I'm going to come to the University of Cincinnati, click it, and that's it. There might be a fee, I'm not sure. I think there might be a fee of like $70 or something like that. And that's just to make sure that you don't confirm to 800 universities, which happens sometimes, but that's what it is. All right, let's get to your questions. First question. Do we have choices as to which co-op we can choose? What about for a major like political science? All right, so very good question. There are, sorry, I'm trying to go back faster to the co-op page. All right. So some programs have mandatory co-ops and some have optional co-ops. For the programs in the Lindner College of Business, the College of Engineering and Arts and Sciences, and the College of Design, Art, Architecture, and Planning, all three of those have mandatory co-ops. You must do it. Obviously, we help you to get all of those jobs. So it's not like you have to do everything on your own, but you will have to do it. If you're in a different major, something like political science or biology or art history, I don't know. For those, it's optional. And the reason why it's optional is because a lot of people in those prefer to do something else with their time. They don't necessarily want to work on co-ops. They don't necessarily want to work at a company. Some of them might prefer to do things like research or volunteer work, service learning, study abroad, things like that, instead of doing the co-ops. So it is optional. You can choose to do it. You can choose to take a semester away. You specifically asked about political science. Typically, those work with either in Washington, D.C., if you're interested more in like international affairs or something like that, or with local political offices related to things like political campaigning or canvassing or research on past events. Some students are able to get into think tanks to do co-ops there, but that's kind of what that scope looks like for that major. It's possible, as I was saying. Hi, Seth. How can international students do co-op? And I would like to know, when can a student start doing co-op, and what are the visa requirements for the co-op program? All right, so those are all kind of related. I'll start with when a student can start doing co-op. So I don't have the slide on this PowerPoint, but you can start as soon as your summer. Well, let me give months. Months is a little bit easier. So you start school in August. You were in school for 4 months, and the year ends, 2024 ends. You begin your second semester, spring semester, in January. And it goes from January until April, May, something like that. Your second semester ends. Now you have from May until August again. And that's like a 4-month period of time in the summer. That can either be a break, or you can choose to do any of these sorts of experiences during that time. So for myself, I chose to do a co-op that very first summer. I worked in, you don't care. I did a co-op. So that's the timeline. If you don't like that timeline, you can also take that summer off, and then you would go back to classes in the fall, or start a co-op in the fall, and then the other semester, then you would start alternating co-op class, co-op class, co-op class, and you would not have any more time off. So it's a little bit intense. How can international students do co-ops, and what are the visa requirements for the co-op program? All right, so that's pretty much the same question. You might have heard it's difficult for international students to work in the United States. For us, we actually require it as part of the curriculum for many students. It's like a co-op class, so to speak. So that's how we get around that loophole. You do have a, this is a very complicated topic. So there's things called CPT and OPT. CPT is curricular practical training, and that is work that you do while you're a university student. OPT is work that you do after you're a university student. So if you want to stay in the United States after you graduate, OPT can either be 1 year for any student. And then if you're a student taking STEM courses, so things related to science or technology or engineering or mathematics, you can get an extension for 2 more years. So you can stay in the United States for 3 years. That's after you graduate. CPT is while you're a student. CPT is up to 1 year. So that's 3 different co-ops that you can do. If you want to do more than 3 co-ops, you have a couple of options. You can choose to use your OPT, so your work experience after you graduate, while you are still a student. So you can take some of that time and use it while you're a student instead of using it after you graduate. Or you can choose to just do your co-ops in other countries. That's something that's very common for international students. They'll go back to their home country, or they'll go to Germany or Japan or wherever else, and they'll work and do co-ops internationally as well. And that way it doesn't affect their visa status. They're still within the CPT limits. That's a little bit complicated. Good question. But that's kind of like the idea of it. I'm happy to go into more detail or try. Next question. When I log into my Bearcat portal, it asks for a code from my IT help desk, and I have no idea how to access that. Oh gosh, I'm not sure I know how to access that either. Let's go back to where that slide is. It should ask you just for the 6+2 and the password. The password should be this. If you're having an issue, there should be a help screen somewhere on there, or it should ask you to get help from IT. 99% of the time, it's just username and password. If you are having issues with that, I would reach out for help. Try and ask IT. I have not heard of that IT help desk thing. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is either. Does UC help with visa guidances beforehand? Do we have a personal counselor? Kind of. It's not really a one-on-one counselor. It's more going through this iBearcats Global's portal, and there are people that you can ask questions to if you have questions. So in this portal is everything that you'll need related to the visa statuses, and it will be very clear. It will be like, red X, you must do this, do it now, you have not done it. Or a green check, like you're good, you did it. Like it's very clear on the website what you need to do and don't do. But if you have questions, you can always email and ask. They also have training sessions similar to what I'm doing right now, where you can go watch and ask questions there and say, hey, I'm having an issue. It's not I think they can schedule times for one-on-ones. I can't guarantee that, but I think they're able to do that. Question, how do we apply for additional scholarships? I think I covered that for the most part. At this point, you cannot apply for more. It will be all external. We have that on our website. Next question. Hi, do I have to confirm admission to see my scholarship offer? No, you do not. You should receive your scholarship offer, whatever it may be. If you're eligible for a scholarship, you'll receive that in email, and you will not have to confirm beforehand. I mentioned that there are going to be scholarships later on that we send out to students, both our office as international admissions, and then also each of the colleges. And they're more likely to give you a scholarship if you're confirmed, because they think, all right, this student's going to come here. We really like them. Here you go. So I think that could help you if you confirm your admissions to get that scholarship offer, but you don't need that to see the initial average. Next question, can we opt for an external health insurance which supports international students, and by what time should we have it? Ooh, good question. The answer is yes. so long as it's supported or recognized by the University of Cincinnati. So I'm just gonna do it right now. You can go ahead and look, like University of Cincinnati, International Health Insurance. And there is a page. Here you go. Healthcare insurance requirements. So there, all the details are here. I would go to this page and then read it. I'm not an expert in this. I'm very sorry. But this is where it's at. All right, next question. Can you please explain once again how doing co-ops during studies can consume some of your OPT duration? All right, yes. Let me see. I'm going to do it in Excel. I know this is kind of outside the scope of this presentation, but it's just visually easier for me to do it there, I think. That's just how I work. Sorry. So let's see. Please bear with me. Thank you for your patience, everyone. Fall, spring, summer. So the years are not quite right. I hope this is understandable. What I mean here by fall is August to December. I'm not doing it by year. I'm just doing it by like term, if that's okay. So it might look something like this, where you go to school, then you go to school, then you're off, and then maybe school, co-op, school, co-op, school, co-op, school, co-op, co-op, school, school. So this is what I meant to explain in that. Maybe it was a little bit confusing. You have something called CPT and something called OPT. CPT, you have a limit of 1 year of work in the US. OPT can be 1 year or 3 years of work after graduation. I'm going to move this. Sorry. The US before graduation. Okay, so I'm going to color this CPT yellow. I'm going to color this OPT red. That looks good. Okay, I'll get to the point. So basically, your first few co-ops, oops, you can use that CPT totally fine. For your last co-op, so for example, if you want to do 2 there or 1 there or 1 here, you have different options. If you don't want to be in the United States after graduation, that's totally fine. You can just say, all right, I don't care. I'm going to use my OPT during this time instead. And then you can you essentially spend it during this time. And it's like that. And then you don't have OPT. If that is not an option that you like, then you can do something like, oh, I want international co-ops, or oh, I want to do research instead, or oh, I want I don't know, to do paid work over the summer at UC, something like that. And then once you graduate, you would still have your full OPT, which would be like whatever, the 1 year or 3 years, something like that. Hopefully that clarifies it a little bit. I know it's a little bit confusing. I did my best. Okay. Is there a way we can know more about the program structure, electives, etc.? Yes. So if you go to the website, you can just type in University of Cincinnati. Oops, that's not the page. University Cincinnati. You go to the website. Here on the website, sorry, the question is, can we know more about program structure, electives, etc.? When you go to the website, if you scroll down just a little bit, it'll say find your major, and you can either search for it or you can like go through different buttons. I guess I'm just going to pick the very first one. Oh. Accounting. Let's say you want to be an accountant. What's that like? You can go to learn more. And then here, there's something called curriculum. And if you open that up, these are the classes that you have to take. So it will call out, you need to take Communication 2081, you need to take this English, this math, business pathways, blah, 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 blah. And it will tell you all the classes that you need to take, as well as these are the electives that you need to take. This is the general education that you need to take. So I would just refer to this, read it, and that will give you that information. So that's where that's located. Different programs have different structures, but generally speaking, if you go that program, you'll be able to learn more. Next question, where should I look for the scholarship offer? I tried Bearcat Portal, view financial aid, and there was none. Not every student did receive a scholarship offer. Unfortunately, there are some students that did not receive scholarship offers. If you did receive a scholarship offer, you should be able to view it. You should have received an email notification. If you send an email to us, I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint, but if you send us an email and ask like, hey, I don't know if I did or not, or I don't know if like I can find it correctly, we'll respond to it and let you know how things are going, just in case, because maybe like the email got deleted or something, or it didn't send it correctly. So you might as well ask, and then we can see. Next question, is it true that we're safe with CPT for as long as we want, as long as it's less than full-time and is part-time work? I'm not an expert on it. That is also my understanding. Yes, that's what I believe. Is that CPT only adds up. It only counts when it's full-time, and it's 364 days per year. So you have to be less, or like whatever, 364 days working for a company, and it's full-time. So that is also my understanding. Usually co-ops are not part-time work, so that would not count against you. Thank you so much. That helps. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, I made it. All right. Oh, no, I have one more. When can engineering students start doing co-ops? I think I explained that. It's start of your summer of your first year or in your second year. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining me here today. Oh, no, I did get another question. Would you happen to know whether pharmacy students qualify for 24-month OPT STEM extension? Great question. STEM designated. I don't. The answer is I don't know. But you can look it up. So if you go to STEM designated programs, then you can go in here and look for pharmacy. Yes, pharmaceutics. There it is. Pharmaceutics and drug design. Back from two. Yep. Yeah. So pharmaceutics and drug design are in there. Yes. All right. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thanks for your time. I know I went over a lot, but if you have any more questions, you can always shoot me an email. And then we have the student ambassadors as well. Yes. Can't wait to see you all. Very excited to welcome you and to have new Bearcats. Woo. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye. Oh, you can't see my hand. I'm waving. Bye.